have you ever struggled with your sexuality? Have you been brought up with that you can't be gay, or you can't be, kind of, you feel like you're a different sexuality than what maybe the culture or your, family or friends kind of want you to be, sort of thing. I know for me, growing up, being gay was not really, wasn't really celebrated in any way. It was definitely looked down upon. The term gay was definitely like a pretty derogatory term, and especially like kind of transitioning, going through from middle school to high school, kind of discovering like who I was. It was pretty tough, like realizing, hey, like I don't think I like women, kind of like all my friends seem to be doing. So, well, I realized I was gay in kind of a society that, I felt was more hetero norm. This could be for anybody that is just struggling with their sexuality and trying to come to terms with who they are, who their most authentic self is, and at the end of the day, that's really my aim here, is to be able to share my learnings over my experiences on my discovery to be my most authentic self, in hopes that they can help you in any way. So I guess with that, let's go ahead and get started. So it's probably worth a video on its own, but when I was in college, college was the time that I ultimately determined, I became comfortable being, identifying as gay. So throughout middle school and high school, I had kind of dabbled in, thinking I could be straight, but I ultimately kind of knew I was gay at the end of the day. But maybe thought that there would be, some girl out there, or just a partner that could kind of help me, or that I would like enough, and that I would be attracted to enough, and it wasn't necessarily a man. So that unfortunately didn't really happen, despite kind of trying to test the waters with girlfriends throughout those times. It wasn't until about midway through college, so the start of my junior year, when I was living on my own in an upper class dorm, where I was by myself after living with some people for a while, and it was really just a chance for me to just kind of have my own space, my own thoughts to myself, and really just kind of try to discover who I was, and kind of who I wanted to be, and just kind of how I wanted to. At the time, I was also struggling with kind of the major that I was in, so I was doing computer science, and I was struggling with some of the courses, and I was even struggling to determine if I even wanted to stay at the university. So UW-Madison, I guess I'm coincidence I'm wearing the sweater today, although today is usually Saturdays for Badger football, so go Badgers, go Bucky. But yeah, when I had gone to my dorm room and I was by myself, I had a lot of time to reflect, and a lot of time, kind of by myself, to kind of really, feel a little bit more on my own, and not necessarily around people that I felt like I would be judged by, per se. So everybody that I was around was new. I didn't know anybody. Actually, I knew like one person, but they were more of a college friend, so they were fairly new. So, but even moving into the dorm, okay, so I had started kind of seeing a couple people towards the end of my sophomore year, but going into junior year, I still had like a couple moments where I was like, hey, like, there was this really nice girl, and I was like, man, like, she was really pretty. I objectively can still identify when women are beautiful, and despite kind of at the time pretty sure that I was gay, but I met this one girl who was helping me move my things into my dorm room the very first day. She was super nice, and I thought, like, wow, like, could I manage to strike a relationship with her, and the types of the reason I was thinking that, despite kind of like thinking I was more interested in men, was just thinking like, well, maybe there was still a chance that I could find someone that I was still find a girl that I was still attracted to. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it just didn't necessarily, it still didn't feel right. And, and I guess those types of thoughts, honestly, the thought that if I did successfully like date or marry a woman was really, that the thought of that was very comforting, because then I wouldn't have to explain to people that I was in fact gay, despite, trying to deny it for years. So, it would have been, I think back to like, being able to bring them home to my family and just like have that kind of conversation be a lot more easy and not so difficult, because, like I said, I wasn't really brought up, during a time where being gay was necessarily, really well accepted. I'm very fortunate to kind of have grown up in 90s and 2000s through school, that it wasn't like it was even a decade or more before. So there's been a lot of progress every year since, but yeah, it was tough, because I wanted to kind of make my family happy and please my friends and kind of just live kind of the life that I thought was more normal, and not have to kind of be that exception and try to deny being I would then know how, I wouldn't have to then tell everybody that I was actually gay, and I wouldn't have to come out. So in addition to that, I was also worried about, so I was raised Catholic, Christian Catholic, and I was led to believe that, being gay was a sin, and I would go to hell if I, had, was with another man, sort of thing. And so, obviously I was thinking like, I don't want to go to hell, like who does? Right? So, but like at the end of the day, it was just, there was definitely motivation for me to kind of like still see if it was possible for me to like be with a girl. I would say that was kind of like the problem, is I wasn't really, at the end of the day, I wasn't really confident in my own sexuality to be able to kind of cut off whether I would be interested in women or not. And that inability to kind of decide and be confident about that, in fact, I was gay and I was interested in men, really just, it weighed on me, right? So like it caused me to be antisocial. I didn't want to like, I didn't feel like I could really be myself, because I couldn't really express myself to the people that I cared about most. And unfortunately, not only through middle school and high school, but, some early years in college, I just felt like I didn't really get to experience a lot of things with some of my close friends, because I was ultimately trying to hide that part of myself. Looking back on it, I don't think anybody would have cared, and I think they would have been very supportive. They, at the end, I am out now, so they are all supportive and still like me for who I am. So yeah, it would have been a lot easier, I feel like, if I would have been comfortable with it and confident about it sooner. So, but nonetheless, while I was kind of in that transition period, like I said, the problem was that I wasn't confident about my own sexuality to be able to confidently kind of not pursue women and more confidently just, pursue men, or, just be comfortable with my own skin. So, so there were a couple things that, how did I get out of this? Like, what were the types of things that, realizations or mindset shifts that helped me get out of that mindset of, or get into a more, being able to appreciate my, a more authentic mindset. So I would say the first one that I go through in the blog article is realizing that living a lie was just not what I wanted to live. I think you'll find that pretty much in all scenarios. Like living a lie ends up bringing kind of negative manifestations, because basically you're not being who you are. You're not loving yourself, practicing self-compassion, sort of thing. So I definitely, at that time, I was not happy that I was gay. I did not like having the conflict of trying to figure out like who I was, and like, you know, accepting that I did in fact like men, and I definitely didn't want anybody to know about it. So I remember laying in bed, thinking, this was still in my junior year, in my single dorm. I had a lot of time to think, and so a lot of the things that I used to think about were like, well, could I in fact actually see myself actually kind of living the life of being with another woman, and being able to, I could see maybe dating, but like getting to the point of like, I guess I'd always envisioned, getting married and having kids and a family sort of thing, and kind of living the lifestyle that I, at least saw my parents and so many other families that you see in life and the movies and, all that kind of stuff do. So I ended up trying to envision, what that might look like for me. And I really asked myself, like, and I was, again, remind you that I was still very conflicted. Like, if I didn't go down this straight path, I was going to hell, right? So like, I was kind of like, I feel like I have to do this. Like, I feel like I have to get married to a woman and do this kind of thing, and especially like if I want to have sex, like, and so, I envisioned having, getting in a relationship and getting married to a woman, and even getting to the wedding, and envisioning, like saying our vows, and me trying to profess my love to her. And I love women, in my heart, but from like a sexual and like a partner standpoint was not obviously where I really felt was who I was most attracted to. But I really thought to myself, like, could I truthfully tell this person that I love them, that I want to be with them for the rest of my life, and that I love every aspect about them, not only from the emotional standpoint, but from the physical. And so I thought to myself, if I did say yes, to kind of appease the mindset that I had to be straight in order to, be viewed well in God's eyes, I guess, then like that's kind of what I had to do. But I also thought, like, how could I confidently tell that person that I love them in that way, when I really didn't? And so I thought, like, well, what if I did say yes at the wedding? Like, how many years later would it be? Like, could I actually, have children with them? And would I be happy, or would I be one of those people that kind of like, after a while starts kind of realizing like this just isn't working? And I really didn't want to be that type of a partner. I wanted to be someone that like actually was truthful and in everything they said, including the vows at a wedding. And so I thought to myself, like, well, even if I was trying to say yes to try to appease the belief, the internal belief that I had to be straight in order to make it to heaven, that wouldn't be very fair to the girl I was trying to marry, right? Like, that would be that'd be super unfair if I were basically ultimately telling her a lie. And like, because if she loved me like that, but I didn't love her, like, is that really a good fit for a relationship to get married and have kids and sort of thing? So to me, it just didn't seem fair. And I was just like that, in my head, I'm like, still laying in bed thinking about this. I'm like, that just doesn't seem right. Like, they deserve better. I deserve better. And for their sake, like, I wouldn't want to put them through that. That's not fair. That'd be living a lie. And they deserve someone, like I said, they deserve someone to love them for exactly who they are, and vice versa. And so, I pretty much determined at that point, like, well, that would be a bigger sin for me to continue pursuing that type of a relationship for myself, and that would be a bigger crime, to lie to them in such a way that ultimately like wasn't meaningful and truthful. So, in my head, at least, I was like, okay, in terms of the thought that I might be able to go down this kind of straight, happy marriage kind of, traditional kind of family life, that's that's just that I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to do that to someone. That doesn't make sense. I guess I have to accept being gay. Because I definitely can't, I'm not going to continue going down the straight path, I guess. So you know what, I'm gonna accept being gay, and I'm gonna just take whatever kind of comes with it. At that point, I wasn't quite sure, like, well, would it still be okay to like see other men? Like, because again, I still thought like, well, I had heard like, well, if you're gay, like you can be gay, but like you can't act on it. So I was like, I don't really want to act on the straight path anymore, so I'm gonna just at least accept being gay, and I'll just kind of figure that part out next. So honestly, that's what I did, and it made me feel a lot better. Because then I didn't really have to kind of live in that limbo, like, am I going to try to chase down that path, or am I going to kind of more accept who I am? So short answer, at the end of the day, it's always best to accept being who you are and love yourself for exactly who you are. So it just took a long time for me to kind of realize that, but that was kind of one step for me to kind of, that one mindset shift that helped me be able to come out and when I had such a difficult time doing it. So the second part that really helped, so I guess in summary, I had determined that I really wanted to live my, authentically and not live a lie. So, but I was still struggling with, do I pursue men? Do I pursue, a gay relationship, despite kind of my fear with, what I had believed based off of what the church had been saying. And so, I guess the second part or mindset or kind of realization that led to the mindset shift was, the questions that I started asking myself, like, well, why don't I deserve, like I'm a human being. I was made just like everybody else. And why isn't my, like, why did God make it so my life that I couldn't, have an intimate relationship with another man without it being a sin and, risking me going to hell, if not condemning me. So I guess at the end of the day, it could be. I don't know, but but nonetheless, I don't believe that anymore. And so after I had realized that I didn't want to live the lie anymore, I had, so Lady Gaga came out with her Born This Way song. I was already obsessed with Lady Gaga. Loved everything from Just Dance and beyond. And so she came out with Born This Way, and fantastic record, album in general, but the lyrics in that song really struck with me. A different lover is not a sin, believe capital H-I-M. So the whole song was really dedicated to, kind of celebrating who you are and really owning that, like, you were born exactly who you are, and so and to celebrate, and God makes no mistakes. So honestly, the timing of the song was very impeccable for me, because that's exactly what I was trying to figure out. And so when I heard that song, it had been the first time that I heard that a different lover. So I guess it's kind of generic, right? It's not necessarily, for being gay, but like, for all sexualities, a different lover maybe than like what others expected or what cultural society norms say, was not in fact a sin. So at the time I had really I had really appreciated Lady Gaga and like her music and her her expression of art at the end of the day. And when I heard those lyrics, it really hit home for me that, wow, like it had been the first time that I heard that it wasn't in fact a sin. And that was very relieving, because not that I isn't necessarily saying I believed in Lady Gaga like God per se, but like to hear another human say that it was okay to kind of love who you love was kind of like the first time that vocabulary, that type of affirmation became conscious in my head. So that really helped me just kind of be confident and be like, wow, like, you know what, like I don't have to live the lie, and maybe it is possible that it's not in fact a sin to be gay. And so once those kind of two major mindset shifts happened for me, between the not living the lie and realizing that it's not in fact a sin to love who you love. It lifted a whole bunch of pressure that I had been feeling in terms of about who I was and how I had to be, and how I had to present myself. So at that point, I remember this is more second half of my junior year, so second semester, I remember specifically being comfortable, not necessarily telling people I was gay, but not caring if they found out. Or like if I were at a party and it came up, I would be comfortable not denying it anymore. So, which to me, that was so that would have been spring 2011. That was the first time that since middle school I had felt comfortable in front of people, or potentially felt comfortable in front of people like friends and peers and family, if they, about my sexuality. So, yeah, that was a big turning point for me to kind of come out to myself, I guess. That at the end of the day, I really came out to myself first, because up until then, I wasn't okay with myself being gay. So those were the two major mindset shifts that helped me propel forward. And from then on, there's definitely been struggles and kind of worked through different kind of like, new realities for me. So that can be future videos that I cover some of those experiences. But yeah, those were the two kind of like realizations for me that really helped. So I truly hope that any of this helped you. If it resonated in any way, please like the video and subscribe for more content. I'm hoping to share, I'd like to share more. I will be sharing more content like this about how I overcame challenges like this, which this was probably one of my biggest challenges, was coming out to myself, and then which then led to me be comfortable coming out to others, which I'll go into more topics for that in the future. So if you want to see some of those, subscribe for more so you can get notified. Leave a comment down below, one or more comments, if any of this resonated with you, or if there's a situation or storyline that you have that's similar, that others can maybe benefit from. I'd love to hear how maybe you came to terms with your sexuality, or just some aspect of yourself that maybe you had been suppressing for a while. At the end of the day, we are all God's creatures, and He makes no mistakes, or she makes no mistakes. They make no mistakes, and we're put on this earth to express our most authentic self. So I want that for you all, just as much as I want it for myself. And I hope this helps you do that. So stay tuned for more videos. I'm excited to share more and share more of my journey. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.